Here is one of the purple pill videos from Louis Laveau, and his putting John Stossel's face on the thumbnail of this video, I think is pretty fucking dishonest and outright cunty. For many a reason. Many a fucking reason! Let's get into this shit show, shall we?
So this is Louis, and I thought for today I would speak to something that came up when I was researching a conservative pundit who I've despised or loathed for an incredibly long time, and now that the Tylenol has kicked in from my hangover from yesterday, I can actually speak to something that came up when I was thinking about what I used to believe, why, and what about the right used to irritate me, why I was a leftist, because I was looking at old videos from the right, old videos from the left. I was watching old Young Turks videos, and old videos by like people on Fox News, including Tucker Carlson.
Which is brain rot, but I get it. You're trying to suffer through the brain rot and pseudo-intellectualist shitmongering. But to analyze it, and I gotta commend you that that's something I don't have the patience for. I know I have the patience, but I view it as a waste of what patience I have. I'd rather not stretch it too far. You get the point.
I used to not like Tucker Carlson. I used to thought he was an inauthentic, bullshitting conservative. Like, when it was the heyday of the neocons.
He was never a neocon. He's a paleocon that thinks Elizabeth Warren has intelligible economic input. He's full of shit! But he's got a lot of good points outside of that full of shit streak that he's got so far up his ass it could poke out the top of his head. He does have decent takes, and he recently, when he called out the fucking kitty porn shit on the left, which something the whole lefty or pedos meme kind of was given credence because of philosophical underpinnings of the vast bulk of the left. Leftists will never admit to if you called it the fuck out. I wonder why. Guess what commies did? They used sexual exploitation. They used the fucking sexual humiliation and other sexual deviancies as a tactic to help subvert against their fabulous fucking enemies. And then would in the leaders of the movements would shoot those degenerates they would use and backs of their heads, so they couldn't come up against them and fuck their shit up they're trying to have going. Mao is the biggest example of doing this. A lot of so-called progressivist, so-called talking points originated in Mao's shit! Christina Hoff Sommers even admitted it when she left feminism, realizing how fucking crazy it really was, and why she was right to feel like a moron, because she was one before she said, I need to stop being a fucking moron.
Late 2000s. When the conservatives have had almost a decade-long...
Sorry for the series of tangents, but one thing just goes into another because there's so much overlap, there's so much interconnected shit-mongering and fuckery, and it's unbelievable.
Run of their policies in place, their punditry, owning the network news. I despised conservatism because that's all I thought it was. I thought it was evangelicals wearing a sign that said the end is nigh and spouting Bible quotes. And by the way, that side of conservatism still exists. There still exists a side of conservatism which is completely nonsensical, in that I've read the Bible cover to cover at least twice.
Those are the creationist, Zionist simping neocon faction. That's who they are. And in all honesty, that's what's going on there. It's fucking horrible. Oh yeah, it's fucking bad. It's fucking bad. That's just, but it goes even deeper.
When you stand up and you start citing the Bible with random quotes, even as someone who's read the Bible all the way through twice, it makes no sense to me. It is not an argument for fucking anything. I'll help you out here. Make an argument, then give me a Bible quote. Make an actual argument. Build the case for what you believe, then give me a Bible quote for the Christian mores that undergirds your position. I can't stand evangelical fucking conservatives because they make no sense. They never have. Even when I was a Christian, you can debate Catholicism. You made no sense then, you make no sense today. They make no sense. Make an argument, then give me a Bible quote. But unfortunately, even recently I've seen an example of this. Evangelical Christian goes to a drag queen story hour event, disrupts the event. I'm not just against the pedophile drag queen shit, I'm against drag in general. You don't have to sway me at all, I'm already on your side. Christian stands up, just starts spouting fucking nonsense. Incoherent nonsense about the Bible. I can't understand you, and I've read the Bible. I used to be a Christian. I went to Sunday school. I've read the Bible, I understand it. I can't understand you, and when that's the case, you are irrational and you are nonsensical. You sway no one.
You absolutely do not convince anyone in the modern anything for fuck all. You don't convince. You make the enemy look sane when you do this. That is how fucked off you are. And there is no redeeming from that when you keep on fucking doing it.
Absolutely no one. And when that's you, when that's conservatism, it opens the door to mercenaries that can actually make an argument. They can be as insincere and inauthentic as they can possibly get away with and still label themselves a conservative, so long as they make more sense than you. And so my warning to conservatives is, do not allow the face of your movement to be evangelicals, because they are irrational and they do not actually have arguments outside of random, just ranting about the Bible.
And doing it in a way that is so bad, you will fucking you will fucking make believers doubt their faith with your incoherent, babbling shit. I'm speaking from entertaining servers full of that shit. To the point, I was willing to see what would happen if I threatened to fucking help get some furries to help me fucking fuck with their server. Just to get a reaction out of them, just so they can ban me and get it over with. That is how degenerate you are cognitively when you do this shit. You will justify someone who would never want to try stomaching it into entertaining that thought. And you win no one over. In fact, you make people lose their faith. And if they're in the journey to try to recover their faith, you just kill that process doing shit like that. You factually will do that. It is gonna happen.
It is nonsensical.
That kind of experience has happened to me this many times, and then I said, never again. Fucking never. That kind of server experience happened to me that many goddamn times. And third time, I said, I'm done. They're unreasonable. I'm wasting my patience. I'm not going to give them ammo to fucking try to report me, so I'm going to ditch them. And if they come after me, then I'll fuck with them. Fortunately, they didn't do that, but I had a plan. I had a backup if they tried. At the time. I'm just trying to give you a picture of why this shit is so ridiculous. Why you cannot argue this way. It's not gonna work. It's never ever gonna motherfucking work.
Is incoherent. Do not allow them to be the face of your movement, because
exactly,
they are fucking losers. They cannot win you elections. They cannot win arguments. They are just deranged fanatics. And even if Christianity, the morality of Christianity is what undergirds 100% of right-wing politics, right-wing arguments, and the rest of it, It's the bedrock of the morals of conservatism. Even if that is the case, you have to build the argument to win over those that are not on your side currently. They could be more atheistic, they could be more Christian. It's a matter of winning over those that are not currently on your side. Preaching to the choir can be as incoherent as you want it to be. You have to do more to win those over to your side. That can only be done when you make the case better than your opposition. Most people, in my view, can be swayed. I don't think that most people are irrational or just ridiculously partisan. That has not been my experience in life. There are a certain percentage of people that are just moronic partisans, but in large part, a lot of people are not that way. And so I think that for the most part, all you have to do is make a more coherent argument. Make yourself the reasonable speaker. Make your case the most coherent one, the most logical one for anyone to take. If you're rational, of course you would be on this side. Make that, what you are. Be that speaker, and you will win over the majority of the people in whatever.
And if you want to go further, then you can defend it with different levels of metaphysics, metaphilosophy, and shit, and the underpinnings thereof for your coherence. Then you can justify your belief in set theology using transcendental defenses as best you can. You got to remember, though, transcendental arguments can be used against you too, because transcendental analyses go beyond presuppositionalism. Even though they're peddled as presuppositionalism, it isn't. It really isn't. It can't be by its nature, and that's just the way it is. You have to accept that, or cope, seethe, mauled, and cry somewhere else. You just cannot change that. It's not changeable. You can go screech all you want, but it's not gonna fucking change shit. Now, let's continue on.
You're in a room, you're making the case for your local election, or you're making a national case for the movement.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter so long as you are the one making the best argument. And even if you're against that, you think, oh no, let's spout Bible quotes. It can't hurt you to be the rational actor as well. It can't hurt you.
At all.
Because I think that one of the reasons why, people such as myself and many others have been ejected from the left and have joined the right. I may not be a philosophical conservative, but I am on the side of philosophical conservatives, because I find social conservatives, even if they can be boorish in certain ways and we disagree on certain issues for differing reasons, even though I'm not perfectly aligned with them, I'm still parallel with them, because I find the left to be completely irrational and irredeemable. That is why I am now on your side. And what is going to keep me on your side is so long as you are the side that makes sense, so long as you are the reasonable people in the room that I think genuinely care about others, that aren't just fanatics and morons. I think the failures of evangelical conservatives led to the revolution of the mercenary right, the internationalist right.
No, they're not right-wing. They're Trotskyist, Zionist, corporatistic, neo-Jacobinists calling themselves conservative. Just call them neocons. That is what they are. They're not right-wing. They're fucking Jacobinist, Trotskyist, corporatist, Zionist fakes calling themselves conservative. They are not right-wing. That is why the ratchet effect between the two-party facade is a thing!
People will often say neocons and that sort of thing in comparison to nationalists or paleocons. I think it can be labeled down to the internationalist right, because
which is no. Are you genuinely are you absolutist authoritarian right wing or author as I call it, or are you leave me the fuck alone or liberty lenient right at this point? That's where you're going. Leave me and my kids and my family alone right wing, which is liberty lenient right wing by default. It has to. It's fundamentally has to be. That's what it boils down to.
That is what I think undergirds what they believe. I think it is the idea that capitalism and a mercenary attitude is
You don't know how capitalism works, and you're retarded. You fucknut!
What is the best aspect of Western culture? Or
technically, private property rights, an open, completely open market economy, and the ability to do whatever you want as long as you don't fucking violate someone's property rights. In other words, you don't use the unsolicited, unprovoked initiation of force or the use thereof to do shit without someone's consent. Aggression. And you can make any kind of social organization, communities, and whatnot you want away from one another or together under those principles. That underpinning foundation is the foundation of the American experiment. But the synthesis of being conservative, about family, about kinship, about camaraderie, and about social norms that are useful and are helpful to people. The only ones that have been trying to do this consistently was the paleo-libertarians. I'm just saying, it's. I would strongly suggest you read from a biochemist, biophysicist, and ethicist by the name of Dr. Mary J. Ruwart. And in all seriousness, and read the book "Healing Our World: The Compassion of Libertarianism" before you try spewing out your fucking your fag cock holster. Okay, fucker, can you do that? I would love to know if you could do that.
Western morality, and I think that it is not true. It is fundamentally false. I think that internationalism is an erroneous position. It is.
Now you're just spewing bullshitting. You're just shitting out your mouth.
Wrong, factually. It leads to worse results than, say, social conservatism, even if I may have problems with it. I think that social conservatives have a better argument for outcomes than anyone from the internationalist right, any case they could possibly make. Empty consumerism, internationalism, and mercenary right-wing politics have led to an utterly dysfunctional country that has bred and has radicalized the left to such a point that they are now running the show culturally, institutionally, and they are running roughshod over the right. And rather than continue to make the case for conservative politics, conservative philosophy, mercenary internationalist right-wingers are abandoning their positions to just be politically correct. And what is politically correct is whatever the left is spouting at the moment. The failure of the evangelicals has been giving conservatism over to the internationalist mercenary right. And
they're not right-wing, they're fucking neocons, fucker.
Mercenary right are losers. They are abandoning right-wing philosophy, conservative philosophy.
They never truly believed in it. It was a grift tactic from the moment the Trotskyist, Zionists, Jacobinist cunts came over here and started calling themselves conservatives being a mockery of the genuine intellectual journey away from being a commie going into Burkean conservatism and libertarian or classic liberalist thought. If the last genuinely Burkean or socially genuinely conservative intellectual of the Burkean tradition, James Burnham. So you're just spewing out your fucking cock holster here, saying all this words bullshit, word salad,
philosophy, and just succumbing to the progressive revolution. As someone that views the left as irredeemable, irrational, and pushing the entire West, every nation in it, to the brink of being failed states, of being just failed societies, that is the trajectory we're on because of them. As someone that believes that the left is in that position, that is the source of what is driving the dysfunction in our nations, we should not be giving ground to them in every instance, and that is what the mercenary right is doing. At every given point.
Neocons. That's the ratchet effect doing. They peddle that bullshit, pushing everyone gradually to the left, more and more. It's a fucking lie. It's a grift tactic. It is a fabrication. It is a fake conservative lens. It is a fake nationalism lens. That is what it is. It's a goddamn lie.
The mercenary right simply abandons their socially conservative beliefs, and
they never fucking had them. It was a fake from the start, Louis.
Socially conservative morality for the sake of remaining politically correct. They do that each and every time. And what I'm saying is that in order to push them out, in order to retain socially conservative positions and to make the case for traditionalism or whatever else, philosophical...
Read Edmund Burke and read from Paul Gottfried as your starting point. Then check out the books by Mary J. Ruart, retired biophysicist, biochemist, and ethicist. Then read them first, then read the paleo-libertarianism, then get the fuck back to me, motherfucker.
Conservatism, you can't simply be irrational Christian fanatics. You can't simply make irrational, incoherent arguments about the Bible as being the source of authority for why you're right. You can have that as the mores that undergird your position, but you actually have to make the position. And I'm saying this as someone who is formally on the left. This is what swayed me.
You're still mentally on the left in a lot of fucking areas.
Being on the left. It is you being irrational. You making incoherent arguments that no one can understand. No one. There's no way that, even to you, that argument makes any fucking sense. You have to be the adults in the room. And that exists on the right. You can go back all the way to the 50s, the 40s, find arguments by intellectual conservatives who don't even mention the Bible that can make the case for social conservatism, for philosophical conservatism, and so on. They can make the case for conservative policy based on a coherent, rational, and convincing argument. They can do it, so can you. Those people should be the face of the movement. And if it's not them, if you're not going to make the more intellectual side of conservatism the face of your movement, it should be the nationalists. Because in my view, the resurgence of the nationalist right is in reaction to the failures of the internationalist right. That
they were a failure almost completely by design, because neocons were fucking Trotskyist, Zionist, corporatist, neo-Jacobinist, cancer, calling themselves conservative. I keep repeating this.
That is why you see nationalism exploding at the moment. Why even people that are more, socially liberal or align more with the left, such as, let's say, Tim Pool or others that are closer to...
He's a socialist fucking hack. Don the pleb fucking nuked the shit out of him. Let's be honest.
The left, and not so much really on the right, they still side with conservatives. They're still aligning with conservatives and conversing and speaking with and being on stage with, people on the right. It's because the right are doing better under the position of arguing for nationalism than they are either spouting Bible quotes or being mercenaries that think that capitalism is a fucking worldview. I think that the healthiest thing that has happened to conservatism in my lifetime probably is the resurgence of nationalism, because I think that is a more coherent and cogent standpoint than anything that we currently see on the left, which has gone all out in embracing, in essence, the downfall of nations, when that is basically the general position of the left at this point, where that is mainstream. Whether it's, arguing in favor of healthcare, publicly subsidized healthcare for illegals, for foreign nationals, or...
Fuck the government funding single-payer healthcare completely. If you want to do something similar to that, get your damn self and a bunch of like-minded motherfuckers in that area and bridge funds together to start mutual aid societies, fraternities, and non-corporate mutual aid unions for healthcare. Mutual aid healthcare for unions, mutual aid healthcare fraternities, mutual aid healthcare societies. Are you... there you go. Okay? If you don't want to do that, shut the fuck up, motherfucker!
Dismantlement of border control and immigration enforcement, the argument in favor of prosecutors showing discretion towards property crimes based on race and so on, the total dismantlement of law enforcement in favor of racial redistribution and so on. That irrationality is what is making the case for why the left should lose and why the right should make a comeback. And I think the adults in the room are the nationalists that are making the case for why the left is.
No, the adults in the room are the paleo-libertarians, but we get ignored by motherfuckers like you. And I like this content creator. I like Louis. This is one of his most blue-pilled, riddled, purple pill video takes I've seen ever. Fucking ever.
Is fundamentally wrong and is the source of so much of the dysfunction that we see. Even as ugly as some aspects are, racially charged aspects are, to nationalism, and there are more isolationist aspects and racially motivated aspects to nationalism that exist. And
that's not necessarily true. It's actually flavors of nationalism, such as ethnic nationalism or those are the flavors of nationalism that have the problems like that. And complete isolationism is also cancer.
As much of an issue as that element is, I think that so long as conservatives can remain grounded in simple utilitarian attitudes of what happens to a nation if you let the left loose and they get what they want, what can happen. So long as that's a position you're arguing from, I think that they can easily win, easily sway the voters, and easily win elections to see.
What are you saying? Do you want them to be grounded in moral, coherent arguments, or do you want it just to be utilitarian? Which is it, motherfucker? Which is it? Do you want grounded reasoning, reasonable arguments, or do you want utility? You don't have to have. It doesn't take much reasoning to do utilitarianism. I could give you utilitarianism for profitable self-sufficiency in a country, restricting border. Making an invitation-based immigration, strong assimilation, and free trade beyond that, and make it coherent. More than you ever could.
That these people are ultimately defeated and never get their way on anything. But to lay out another aspect to this before I go, I will say that I think one of the things that I've come to understand is the timeline that we're in currently. I think that, and I haven't really dubbed everything just yet, but I'll show you in an image what I think the timeline to be. We'll start at the Clown World decade, 2020 onwards. That's my prediction. The next 10 years are going to be wild. It's going to be
You're right on the money with this one, my God.
ridiculous. The left is going to become even worse, more insane, and you're going to see.
They've dehumanized themselves by dehumanizing those of us who are not as far left as Mao. And this is cross-referencing the shit Don the Pleb said about fighting the left and what about punching progressives, basically. I think the TPP or TTP, whatever the fuck the little video shorts were, it's cross-referencing what I'm remembering off of that. Not literally punching a leftist, but you get the point. It's like an analogy of sorts, if I'm remembering correctly. And, called fight for your life, fuck the progressives, so-called progressives, kind of thing. Yeah. Shit's fucking incredible. Yeah. It cross-referencing the predictions he made and the, this dude was a political autist for fucking many years. Right? But yeah. Still,
a certain element of the right, hopefully, be uncoupled or decoupled, whatever it is, from the general conservative movement. The important aspect and the positive aspect to the Groyper War, when it comes to Charlie Kirk and others, even though I think it's not exactly going the way they want right now, the importance of that argument was to call out the mercenary right and to show everyone who they are, that they are insincere. They're just saying
they're not mercenary. They're mercenary, but they're neocons. They're not right wing. They're not real conservatives. They're fucking Zionist, Trotskyist pieces of shit. I'm gonna link some stuff at Pleb Media's Second Wave Feminism and Mao. I'm gonna have that one. I got that one. Got The Lie of Compromise, Mao and His Little Red Book. There's a couple other things by Don the Pleb I'm gonna do. I got some stuff I'm gonna do.
Whatever.
I'm gonna link to you as well.
In order to get you to stop attacking them. They are trying to go under the cover of more nationalistic beliefs for the sake of hiding from scrutiny.
They're because their old scrutiny of the Holocaust grift industry started waning, as Norman Finkelstein pointed out, and then there's other stuff they've been doing for decades. It's no longer holding water, being anti-pot, anti-drugs, decriminalization, which would actually weaken the fucking gangbangers and thugs and pieces of shit and meth cookers, you know, and that black market. If you really want to be for something like that, because I mean, it would be better. It'd weaken the fuck out of them if there were a lot of ways, but that's another story. If you're agorist, you won't like that take. If you're not agorist, you don't care, or you might be pro that position. I'm just giving this motherfucker some ammo. Those of you watch this.
They're afraid of being exposed for what they believe, and that is basically ANCAP politics.
That is a fucking lie. Fuck you very much. You don't know what ANCAP politics are. You're lying out your face, cunt, with that one.
Basically, open the border, get rid of all the...
Wrong! Read Hans Hermann Hoppe, motherfucker. Wrong! Subject the borders to the property rights of the communities, and they can bridge their property rights together and work with the local forces to make invitation-based immigration and strict assimilation policies like Switzerland used to do before its welfare state fucking shot up. And its political faggots went fucking AWOL. Fucking haywire on their asses, and they threw that out the window. That brilliance of genius. I'll link that, by the way. That way, no one's either completely banned, but no one's allowed to jump over either. You're not kicked out, but you can't come in because you're violating people's property rights by doing that. You want to come in? You need to learn our ways, learn to assimilate with the general spirit of what the American experiment was, and fucking assimilate quick, and then and there you go. That's the whole nature. That's what you could do. But that's what anyone could do. That's the real. But he doesn't fucking know that. And the fact he is saying this shit tells me he doesn't know it. He has not read Dick Lick about that shit. That's why he's shitting out his mouth right here.
Welfare programs, because capitalism is God.
No, wrong. That is a lie, you lying cunt. You're a lying cunt for saying that, Louis. You're a lying fucking cunt. Welfare programs harm the family unit that has been statistically shown. It has raped the black family. The welfare state has raped the black family. Ayn Rand seen it fuck over people when it came about in Russia. You are a lying piece of shit for saying this. Bull. This objectively wrong, factually wrong, completely objectively illogical nonsense, okay? Absolute fabrication at your fucking cockholster there.
That is, in essence, their view. They don't care about the country.
If the country is not what the original founding fathers intended it to be, why the fuck should they? They're the continuators of the founding fathers' works, but they go further and go better with it. I can accept a possibility of a minimal micro-government that you can leave without leaving your location or giving up your property rights at any fucking time. That's why I'm a panarchist. It's the only way that's the only middle ground between an ANCAP and a minarchist that's reasonable. It's the only way I could do it without and still concede to the act of non-aggression, the avoidance of aggression, to prevent, resolve, and minimize conflict as much as possible. And the neo-Lockean, non-proviso property rights justified through, as the baseline for the property system, right system, and having open markets for people to do whatever they want, as long as you're not, fucking with someone's kids, contributing to delinquency, trying to rape or kill or violently attack anyone, or try to defraud someone. And there's many sophisticated ways to do that, like market cornering, what Rockefeller did, helping with the Constitution Amendment of the the way he acquired all those fucking oil shares. They charged him falsely for the wrong reason. You could say that was a fucking market cornering, and then infringing on people's rights by lobbying to change the Constitution for the worse, which is why he should have been shot for that. And I will argue that, and I'll stick by it, because fuck everyone else, because you didn't get it. Anyway, Louis, you don't know what you're talking about. You simply don't know what the fuck you're talking about whatsoever. Read Hans Hermann Hoppe. Read Mary J. Ruwart. Oh, wait. You're probably not going to do that, but it's a good suggestion.
They don't really care about the average American.
Actually, ANCAPs care more about the average American than any political fucking statist fucking partisan motherfucker under the sun. They don't care about optics. That's why us Hoppians have the worst. We get the most shit because we have the worst optics. Because that's how little we care about them. And Hoppian panarchists like me, for fuck's sakes.
All they believe is empty consumerism is good enough.
That's already a bunch of word salad. You don't know what you're talking about, Louis. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You genuinely don't. You're peddling some commie rhetoric here. Blatant socialist rhetoric, for fuck's sakes. Stop. Stop this cancer. It's fucking cringe. Let me explain what consumerism is. It's mainly just a social and economic order that encourages the acquisition of goods and services in ever-increasing amounts. Now, if you want to go into the trade-offs, cons, pros, where you get into different opinionations, is what he's doing, an opinionation thereof, and alternative definitions and differing views of consumerism. There are certain areas that's a whole different story, but consumerism is just that. It's a social and economic order that or scenario, situation that encourages the acquiring of goods and services in ever increasing amounts. That's all it really means. Every other definition is just extra steps or totally different, like an opinionation about it instead of what it actually fucking is. Like what he's saying here.
Buying a new flat screen television is a replacement for God, and the market dictates all. And
could you strawman that position any harder? For fuck's sakes, my God, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Have you read any ANCAP literature? I guess not. You're a bit of, I don't know. Non-aggression seems to be so fucking hard for so many to grasp, and it's just unbelievable. Non-aggression is so hard for fuckers to fucking comprehend. It just blows my fucking mind. If you don't want to read all that shit, let me send you a link to a Liquid Zulu video or two. Check them out instead.
The market wants open borders in a failed nation in the United States.
Oh, fuck off, liar.
And, Christianity to fall, for Drag Queen Story Hour to be the face.
You're a lying fuck.
Face of the movement and so on. Then that is fine. Because that's what the market dictates, and the market is always right.
That is a lie. That is fabrication. You're bullshitting. You're absolutely disingenuous cunt for this part, this whole section.
What Mr. Krabs says.
The money is always right.
That is basically their view. And if the money...
No, it isn't. You clearly are lying out your ass, or you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to assume the worst. I hope for the best. But either you don't know what you're talking about, or you're lying out your gourd. And either way, you're wrong. Objectively.
Says that, social leftism, progressivism.
Social leftism. The fuck do you mean? Progressivism. Let me tell you something. Read John Stuart Mill's On Liberty. Okay, folks? Progressivism was raped and fucking stabbed to death by the eugenicist movements of the 10s and 20s here in the States and in the UK, which is what it started out partially as, and the fucking and then necrophile fondled by Maoists, and then extrapolate into this modern cancer. It's called so-called progressivism today. Progressivism is progress that benefits people if they choose to do it, because you need to examine and go into humanity's ability to be voluntarily progressive beings. That is actually what John Stuart Mill theorized, and he started pioneering the notions of progressivism. But 95% of you on the planet probably wouldn't fucking know that, because 95% of you were not told any bit about John Stuart Mill or any of that. And Cosmic Skeptic's a fucking retard who hasn't read enough of Mill to save his goddamn life. Even though he shows some of his book, some of his work. He shows like one or two things of them last I saw on his website. And I'm like, dude, you need to fucking reanalyze. You need to go through more of his shit and Auburn Herbert stuff. I swear to God, you're a fucking idiot. That's another story. This dude's either being a fucking idiot and ignoramus, or he's lying. Either way, he's still wrong.
If the market says progressivism is right, they will become
more straws and fucking lies here.
Progressives. And I have examples of this that I'm going to cite.
You don't have examples. You say you do, but you don't.
In the video that I'm working on at the moment. I'm not sure if I'm going
to... I've watched this channel. I've yet to see any of that video. Just saying.
To pull the trigger on it just yet, because it's going to require a decent amount of research and work. But
and you're fucking going to fail, because your freaking research is going to be shit. Again, Hoppe, Block, Murphy, Woods Jr., Rothbard, John Stuart Mill, Gustav de Molinari, Lysander Spooner, everything Mark Passy has talked about, the fucking Patrick M. Wood, Technocracy. I'll even throw Bill Cooper's Beyond the Pale Horse or whatever, Behold a Pale Horse or whatever in there. It might as well. Some of its predictions are correct after all. Some things were not factually so, but a lot of its predictions are correct. It's the only quote-unquote conspiracy theory book that actually was published to any meaningful degree, and it was, I'm thinking, the Founding Fathers' works, the Constitution, Articles of Confederation, the Federalist Papers, Anti-Federalist Papers, Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Frederick Bastiat. I'm trying to remember them all. I'm doing this all off the top of my fucking motherfucking head. Edmund Burke, James Burnham. I might as well throw F.A. Hayek in there, because you're going to see some anti-Hayek shit from Rothbard and Hoppe at some point. So you might as well see where they cite the source from that. Claims that they're from, and they're not wrong, but at the same time, it's milquetoast enough to be palatable for normies. That's why I'm citing it. So check into those. I'll even give you the shit to research into. Check out Liquid Zulu's channel. Michael Humer's another one.
Are examples of this. Of if the popular sentiment moves against social conservatism, embraces progressivism, and there's money in that, then fuck social conservatism.
Look up my friend Colton Maxwell Anderson's articles on Hoppian.org if you want to do that. There's so much material for you to examine and look through.
So many mercenaries on the right that do this each and every fucking time.
They're not ANCAPs, and they don't know ANCAP politics. And neither do you, motherfucker. They're fucking neocons. Get it right, you son of a bitch.
They don't actually have an argument for why they've abandoned their former positions. They just do so, and it's because there's money there, and that is the popular sentiment at the time.
If you want to know how fucking arbitrary money is, look at my If It's So Great, Why Ain't It Fucking Cars Now? Look at both reference sections, and go look at my video responding to Rob Siwas by cussing Fauci for nearly an hour. Check that out. Look the references down in there. They'll give you everything you need to know.
And that's it. That is a road to nowhere, and it's why people say conservatives conserve nothing. That's
because they're neocons. They're not actually socially conservative in principle. They have no principles to ground themselves. They're just Zionist, Trotskyist, corporatist, fucking Jacobinist cunt rats claiming themselves to be conservative.
Where it's coming from. It's not that, your average nationalist conservative, your average nationalist, your average conservative, and just in general, your average Christian, it's not because they're bad. It's because the people that are claiming to speak for them are mercenaries. They don't care. Capitalism is their god.
Capitalism is not their god. They don't care about capitalism, because if we were capitalists, people would be leaving each other alone a lot more, and we would have property rights based borders instead of the government-based borders, and we would have an invitation-based immigration policy and assimilation into the American way, and this model and common law for the last almost 1,000 years, form of common law, could be modernized with these through these works and applied to everyone across the planet to preserve their nation, to based on their ways of life and their customs and all that shit, without having to throw everything out. And those who don't will probably get fucking trampled when they try to aggress on everyone else or try to subvert everyone else. And if it's a problem, oh well, then they need to go. Oh well. Oh, this section of the gene pool died out. They wouldn't stop trying to take over everybody else's shit and subvert it. Oh shit. I guess they're gonna die. I guess they're gonna be wiped out because they won't fucking leave everybody else alone. Oh, this branch of inbred crackers are trying to warmonger and being barbarians again. Oh, we got a couple of Hitlerites over here. Wait for them to try to do shit to us. Then we'll as pocket nations, wipe them the fuck out. Let's do some mutual defense funding for these cunts. Let's show them what we can really do. But he wouldn't be able to think of this because he doesn't know the literature to any meaningful degree. And either that or he's fucking lying, or because it's hard to believe that he argued with an ANCAP, because ANCAPs are not this retarded. Like, some of them have some retarded takes and are fucking pieces of shit and can be absolute tumors. But they can it's the genuine ANCAPs argue better than those who claim to be but aren't. There's an easy way to tell the difference. And I am a panarchist. That's a different story. Not pan-anarchy, I'm a panarchist. I believe in you can have a minimal government as long as everyone has the ability to leave without having to leave their home and their property rights to go somewhere else, and without the threat of aggression and coercion based on threat of aggression. That is what I think. That's a panarchist. I'm all for that type of micro-government management system. And a little cosmopolitanism without the cancer can also be in there. That would be called polyarchy. That's also something you can look into if you want. It would be Michael S. Rosef, Paul-Émile Depute, and there's a couple others. I'll link that shit down below.
Believe in God. They can purport to be a Christian, but the market is, in fact, their God.
Wrong. This is bullshitting of the highest order!
And, like I say, capitalism is not a worldview. It is a mercenary worldview.
It's not a worldview. It's accepting the economic and other social science laws letting them to go to their consistent conclusions, and then using the ethical principle of non-aggression as a baseline for law policy across the board. That's what it is. You don't either you're lying or you don't know this, dude. For fucking Christ's sakes, dude.
If the market says that progressive politics is where the money is, that is what their politics are.
Wrong again. You missed this by a goddamn 1,000 fucking light years. And that's just my, instead of going the Einsteinian route, I'm going to the original source where Charles Proteus Steinmetz invented his take on general relativity and invented the engineering calculation of light seconds. Most of you didn't fucking know that. I know factually most of you didn't know that little tidbit right there.
It's being devoid of principle. It's just...
No, it's following the principle of non-aggression, but you don't seem to have a brain, enough of an IQ to fucking compute that. For fuck's sakes.
Going where the money is.
More lies and straws. What the...
And I'm sorry, but to say this to conservatives, that's not conservatism.
No! You don't know what conservatism generally is. You're still mentally involving yourself as part of the left. And it clearly fucking shows. It clearly fucking shows, man. It clearly... fuck. Ow. That clearly fucking shows on your end. Your economy streak's showing, and you need to zip your pants back up. It's ugly.
I have to be the one that holds your hand and lead you down the road, to explain to you, lead you to the water, and say, listen... This is not social conservatism. This is not philosophical conservatism. This is just not generally conservatism. Why do you support these people? Why do you back these people? I'm not saying...
You shouldn't back neocons. You should back paleo-libertarians and the paleo-conservative, paleo-libertarian bridges. That few that still exist. They are per capita more unironically red-pilled, and I mean that in the most genuine, like, they're so more mentally attached to reality. Because they so fucking... Because they've eaten so many doses of reality, which is what red pill technically actually was the original analogy for, before it got co-opted by so many goddamn fuckers throwing the word, well, red pill, in the term, throwing the term around, bastardizing it for what it actually means. We have the highest amount of unironic red pilled motherfuckers per capita. I got motherfuckers that don't want to go ANCAP and don't say shit like you do, but they're still lenient to a panarchy even, and have been exposed to HOPA because I've been able to talk motherfuckers in and to let them listen to what I had to say.
Saying capitalism isn't good or isn't moral or more moral than socialism. I'm simply saying...
Technically, it's infinitely more moral than socialism. And if you use it as a means to fund socially conservative methods without using the state, it's even more moral. That's kind of the key takeaway there in the paleo-libertarian, paleo-conservative synthesis, or just paleo-libertarian view. Or if you want to go, well, Burkean libertarian be kind of fucking redundant now, since I said paleo-libertarian, paleo-con synthesis perspectives.
It's not a fucking worldview. It's a monetary system for crime.
No, it's more than a monetary system, retard. And we don't live under it because if we were capitalists, we'd have free, full reserve banking under gold, silver, platinum, palladium standards. And we would have property-backed paper money at banks for banking. We would have communal banking. We'd have cryptos back and all this. We would have fucking more. Everyone would be able to afford 401ks, IRAs, and all that, backed by bearer shares, property-backed paper money banking assets, and fucking precious metals and fucking knows what else. And the cryptos can be backed by the menageries of these things. We don't live in a capitalist system. We live in a corporatist, half-ass socialist system. So get your head out your fucking cockhole there, Louie, on this one. You're peddling the same fucking rhetoric the knuckle draggers do. Stop it.
crying out loud. It doesn't explain what your morals should be.
You're talking about the laissez-faire market of using the economics based around people leaving each other alone and offering what they have sincerely and taking care of each other voluntarily. You can't. That's the part this dude's either deliberately or unknowingly skipping over. Fuck me.
And why? It is simply that there are economies, there are industries, there are interests, there are products people demand. That is not a worldview. It doesn't...
He doesn't even know what he's talking about. I don't know why he's even going here, because he's going to keep on this tirade for a while. But I've already fucking called this shit out repeatedly, so but let it keep going.
Dictate what morality should be. It never has, it never will. It's nonsensical that you think for a second that the market, like, there's a market for cocaine, there's a market for drugs, there's a market for pornography, there's a market for sex trafficking and prostitution.
Guess what? Sex trafficking tends to violate the fucking non-aggression principle, because a lot of the fucking sex trafficking aggresses on the bodily autonomy of women and children. There are red sections of those black markets for drugs, because, and they're red sections, they're red streaks, because they have involved the aggression upon others to acquire the goddamn means to do the shit in the first place. Fuck off, Louie!
There's a market for so many things that are arguably vices and immoral. If the market...
Yeah, but again, you can use an open market to also defend against the shit and not be a knuckle-dragging cunt rat motherfucker. Which you're being, as you say, as you were being when you recorded this shit and stuck with it.
It is always right. Why does it make sense to you for any of these things to be illegal, to be banned, to be legally prohibited?
Why would you want to do that? Because all it's going to do, when you criminalize something, it's going to make it fucking... It's going to make an underground system that grows, and it's going to leak into everyone else's life. You think banning anime... You think banning fucking crack is bad? Imagine what's going to happen if you ban anime and ban hentai. Or because every single politician that's tried that, and Raging Golden Eagles called this out, and multiple other brilliant motherfuckers called this out. Sorry, I'm genuinely getting pissed off watching this all over again. This is bring back some non-flashback. Trying to lighten the mood for myself a little as I say this, because I'm actually getting a little pissed. The ones who propose such a ban, I'm just giving this a banning example. Every fucking one of them has been outed for being a fucking kid rapist. Some of them have been jailed for it in other countries. And rightfully goddamn so. Actually, no. I think I should have been gutted in public and made a snuff filmographies out of. Okay? That's what I opine. I think that should have happened because, kid rapists are not, yeah, that's a whole other goddamn story. Don't even get me started. My God.
Why should they be prohibited if the market exists and always will for those things? Why? Explain it. If the market's always right, if capitalism is always
nice lying at straws here.
Right. There's market that exists that are illegal and should be, such as child
pornography is illegal under that's called a red market, dumbass. It's a red market because it's built off of the exploitation and harm of children. That's what that is. It's a red market. It's a market you want to get rid of. Even if you're an ethical black market type, you want to get rid of a red market like that. Another example of a red market is there are, if you go in Mexico, they kill you to take your avocados and sell them for themselves. That's a red market. That's why it's called green gold. That is a real fucking phenomenon, by the way. Another goddamn example, you go to Vietnam. You go to China. Don't go near the southern mountains, oh my God, because you're going to get both kidneys taken out and you're going to die. You're going to be crawling, trying to get someone to save your ass, and you're going to die. Because the absolute fucking mongrels that exist over there, that run the red markets that do that shit, that will happen to you. Go to the Philippines, same shit. Japan, they've kind of, it depends on where you're at. They don't have it near the propensity as actually mainland Asia, but my God, you go over there, you go to South America and certain real fucked up places, it'll happen there too. The fucking animals in human skin down there, sub-animals in human skin that do this shit. That's a red market. What you do when you catch them in the act, you kill them! When you see them attacking someone trying to harvest their organs, you pretend to go along with it, and you shank them fuckers, and then take their money and run, because that is the right thing to do. Give it to the victim and say, get out of here. This didn't happen. Get the fuck out, and then go. That's what you would do as you could do as an ethical black marketer if you're an agorist. That would be following your principles there. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying, if you're going to be principled and you got a situation like that, strike the right time when they try to fucking cut someone open for their fucking organs and then kill that sector of the red market. Take that money. It's not theft at that point. Run to the hills with it. Say fuck. Give it to the victim. Help them get home. Help them escape and run. Fucking run. That is a free market position that's ethical. Why? Because you saved someone from an aggression to feed a sector of the red market. Shit like that's what it would take to get rid of that. To be technical. To be descriptive. Here. This dude doesn't even think about this kind of shit. It didn't take me 5 fucking minutes. Again, I'm not advocating this shit. I am not glow posting on myself like a fucking retard. I am explaining, describing scenarios to get my point across the best I fucking can.
Prostitution, pornography, that should be illegal and always should, but there's always going to be pedophiles that want it. There will always...
Yeah, and you know what you need to do with the pedophiles? They need help. They need psychosexual and neuropsychological fucking therapeutic helps. And then if they do get caught acting on it, you punish them accordingly. And that could even include a parent catching them and shooting them in the face if to try to fucking rape the kid. That's what you do. That would be reasonable to do in that case. Unfortunately, the way our legal code here is so fucking retarded, they'll lump that in as a homicide. For fuck's sakes. I'm fucking sweating like a motherfucker right now. Whew.
Be a black market for it. Make the case for it being illegal. Mr. Mercenary.
I just did. Without pulling all the dick hole pulling and ass pulling he's doing right now.
Capitalist. Why? You're always going to default to actual philosophical conservatism. And if that's the case, then capitalism is not a worldview.
Capitalism is an economic system. And it fits a worldview of non-aggression because I just gave examples of how this would be. Okay? I just gave examples of the ethical thing. And I went even all the way down into the most illegal of black markets interacting with red markets. What would be your ethical position? Take their fucking cunts' blood money. Put it to positive use for better parts of the black market. If you wanted to do that, that could be your choice to do. Shank them motherfuckers. Take that, give it help, use a little to help them get home, and run. And you could snuff out those kind of red markets by more actions like that. Now, some of you are going to get martyred, and you're going to wind up on the news. That's kind of that's going to be a side effect of shit like that. And I'm not advocating any of this shit, mind you, but I'm explaining. I'm making a case in ways motherfuckers don't even want to say because someone's got to do it. I guess I might as well be. As controversial as I am right now, I'm still, I'm getting to some really spicy territory. Woo.
So stop speaking to the fucking market as though it is. Because it isn't. But to get back to the timeline, because I went on a rant.
Because your rant that had no merit and no substance of any kind. It's just you shitting out your spewing AIDS diarrhea out your fucking fag cock holster of a face cave or an AIDS ridden face cunt. No, of AIDS-ridden face bussy. There we go! I just dipped to a whole new low on the fucking channel. Congratulations, Wes. You went there. You fucking went there for the first goddamn time.
There. The timeline is Clown World. That's 2020. That's next year. That's where we're headed. Everything that I see says that that's where we're headed. You disagree, you say I haven't done enough research? Fine. That's where I think we're headed. The last decade has been what I'm going to call the progressive revolution. And I'm setting the hard date for when this started in 2010. That's when I think all of this started, 2010. Because if you look at videos that are 9, 10 years old, you can see that we were at the beginning. This is when things were starting to kick off. This is when the Young Turks were galvanizing their popularity, where progressive beliefs were...
After they grifted off of Ron Paul and stabbed him in the back when he lost. That's what happened. That's another big chunk of how they got founded. Another reason to ignore them, ostracize them, and refuse them attention. And their troglodyte fucking simps.
Becoming popular. And I think what it had to do was the older progressive, or the older millennials rather, going to college, becoming radicalized, exiting college, joining the workforce. That's what I think really kicked this off. What started the progressive...
It goes farther back than that, Louis. You really don't know. You genuinely don't fucking realize. It goes deeper than that.
Revolution decade. It was millennials graduating and entering the workforce. I think there's a case to be made for blaming multiple generations for their individual failures to prevent the current state that we're in. But the fact is that when it comes to what led to the current decade that we're in, I think it was starting in 2010, millennials entering the workforce, becoming radicalized in college, joining the workforce, radicalized.
And they got disenfranchised by the fuck-ups and dickbaggery, purposeful harm, getting cheated and getting fucked over by the boomer generation, just like the Gen X before them. And that fueled that fire all the more, so much more, giving this radicalization towards the commie route, this postmodernist, critical social justice, commie, queermo, creeper route, basically Till Deer, all that shit, the Till Deer. Basically another wave of neo-Maoism, subversion shit-mongering to come about. Fueled that and made it, that being disenfranchised and fucked over, and that animosity gave that fertile breeding grounds, if you will, to be able to fucking fester.
Institutions, regardless of what we're talking about, public and private. That's what I think it was the impetus. That's where I think it began, and I think that that's where we, how we found ourselves where we are currently, and what was the preface to the decade we're heading into. I'll leave it to you to tell me what you think about what I've said. And I hope that I have been eloquent enough in my argument to say, to warn those that are on the right.
You warned a lot of good things, but you got plenty of fucking shit wrong. And it took me over an hour to start it took me an hour to get past this massive dissection that I had to give. Going into controversial territories. Like a motherfucker at that. Saying shit that could be on the border of getting me in legal trouble. Right? I don't know about legal yet, but it could get there because how fucking crazily we've descended. Matter of factly. Oh, get me fucking started, goddammit.
Way from falling into old habits of just being street preachers. Because I don't think that, like, you can say that the Christian morality is what is going to ultimately lead to you becoming the victor, but I genuinely don't think that spouting Bible verses is your only argument is what is actually going to sway anyone to your side.
If you want to sound convincing, please check out Bob P. Murphy. Check out Father Gregory Jensen and his The Cure for Consumerism. And then, where is that? Robert Kiyosaki's best books: Rich Dad Poor Dad, Fake, Second Chance, and then a book called I'm trying to find it. Give me I'll have it here. Have it here. Rich Dad Poor Dad. The Christian Economics in One Lesson by Mr. Gary North. If you want to go down that route and actually have a solid argument, oh, here it is, right under me, right under the microphone, right here. If you want to fight against collectivism and actually be intellectually made more rigored, more stout, more shielded, more intellectually strengthened against the collectivist and tribalistic opponents that want to throw individualism out the window like a baby, throw the baby out the window with the bathwater. Yes, this comes from a professor of from Hebrew University in Jerusalem in Israel. It doesn't matter for those of you who are venomously against Israel for whether genuine constructive criticism or if you're just anti-Semitic fucktards. Regardless, it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a good book. It's called Communitarianism and Individualism. I strongly fucking want you to read it if you ever get a chance to. I got this for $5. I got this for $5, and this is normally a $50 book. You can find used deals like this once in a while, and you got to keep an eye out for it. Fucking incredible. Communitarianism, if used correctly, is an individual's tool against the collectivists of all kinds.
Right. Even if the morality is what is at the bedrock of your beliefs and your reasoning, I'm telling you that based on looking at videos of the past, based on thinking about why I used to be on the left, what motivated me, what swayed me to the left, I fear the resurgence of the evangelical right. Because I think, not because, let me tip my fedora, let me throw up a quote by Christopher Hitchens or some shit. I'm telling you that practically, in terms of real politic, they are fucking losers. They are not going to sway anyone to your side. They are not going to win any elections.
No.
They are dead fucking weight. And I'm not saying eject them. I am saying stifle them. Just say, okay, listen, you're on our side. We agree with you. We're parallel in our beliefs and in our end state, our end goals. But please, shut the fuck up and let those that can actually make an argument speak.
I found that, by the way, I had to go to Rumble on page 17 of the Rumble archive. This is a Cold War, a mindset. Who is right wing? Finding like-minded people. The emotional push. Punch them in the mouth metaphorically. Tactics, techniques, and procedures. The TT&P miniseries. Hope he doesn't mind. I'm going to mirror those eventually myself on the channel. If you want to go check out something else, look at the Fabians. I think the Fabian Socialist video series is still up. Fabian Socialist intros, and then parts 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you got Operation Choke Point overview part 2, the attempt to fix Operation Choke Point, why that didn't matter part 4, and then the last one, Mark Pierce, the Operation Choke Point demand. Look at all these. Oh, look at all these. Mom, you don't want to be on camera. Look at these things, and you can check these out too. So,
those that should be decoupled are the mercenaries. The
neocons. Just say neocon, motherfucker. Just say the neocons and the fucking Israel firsters. The censorious Israel firsters. Your entire video of Israel first is censorious. That whole video has been on the spot and accurate through and through and objectively correct, but you're missing certain details. But this video, holy fuck, it's just right. You're off your rocker here on this one.
Mercenary right, the internationalist right, the so-called neocons.
Thank you. They're the neocons.
Rhinos and so on, the jargon that people on the right have for these people. I think it can be consolidated, in my view, to the internationalist right.
No, because they're not right-wing. They're Trotskyists. They're neo-Trotskyists. Just keep calling them neocons. It's accurate. It's precise. That's what they are. They're not really right-wing. They grift the right-wing narrative, but they're internationalists, and they have part of their origins are in fucking communists. Okay, let's call them neocons because they call them by the that's what it is. Call them for what the fuck they are.
I think that is the hallmark of who these people are. They are the ones that need to be decoupled because they are the losers. They are the ones that have been in charge and have led to where we are now. They're losing power now, and it has been because they have been completely ineffective against the left. They have let the left become radicalized, and they are unable to make the case against them. They regurgitate the same fucking talking points over and over and over, and they are unable, and they're unwilling to just make the case for conservative philosophy. They're unwilling to do it. When pressured, they just concede. They just bend the knee to progress.
That's by design. They're lefty fucks. They're lefty fucks internationally lefty fucknuts grifting a conservative narrative. That's what it's always been, dude. What's so tough about this? What's so goddamn tough?
Progressive politics each and every time. You can watch this play out. And it's a loser. It's a loser for the right, and these people should be... I mean, bring me on. You can have whatever issues you have with me. Bring me on. Because at least I'm willing to make an argument with you for what we should do. What policy we should prescribe. What we should actually take action on. I'm not here to fucking stand in your way. I'm not here to make the case for why we should have open borders, speak multiple languages, and so on. I'm not the...
You want to peddle my social safety net bullshit. You are in the way. You are in the way of actually solving a problem. If you actually wanted to save Social Security, save disability, save supplemental security income and all that stuff, and you wanted to save Medicaid and expand on those two, the Social Security sections, not let it go insolvent by 2035 or 2034, and save Medicaid. You get rid of Medicare and you get rid of the welfare state and you get rid of the welfare queens and make them have to bust their ass and sleep in the beds they made, and take it in the ass on those beds they made. Because when you spread your pussy and you don't make the right choice and you take the hot shot to get you knocked up with some man's kid, it makes you undesirable. Why? It's self-explanatory. Now, if you're a single mom that's a widow, the minority of you that are the single moms because you're fucking widowed or something, or you generally tried, to get with a guy you thought was a good guy, and he was a subhuman piece of shit and let his mask fall off and ran off on you, abandoning you with your kids. Those scum need to get fucked. Okay, they need to get fucked. And they deserve to get everything bad happen to them. They're just as much part of the problem as the welfare whores, the single mammy welfare whores, and they need to be fucking done with accordingly. But yeah, those of y'all who have done this way, you're all right. I'm not hating on you. I'm hating on the fuckers that outnumber you by drastic metrics. Okay. Or if your dad that just won the custody of your kid and you thought the broad was all right, she turns out to be a psycho, socio, cunt rat bitch, and you're a single dad, I'm not hating on you by any means, okay? Just wanted to clarify that shit, okay? Good. We're clear.
I'm not the internationalist right that is hobbling, that is handicapping the right.
They're not right wing. They're fakes. They're Trotskyists.
I'm trying to help.
I can prove it
but
too!
These people, these mercenaries, they are the ones getting in your fucking way. They are the fucking dead weight to the conservative movement. And in my view, they should be gone. Eject them. Threaten them. Even though they're going to bury themselves, a lot of them, they're going to bury themselves and try to pretend as though they're not what they are. At least then, they shut the fuck up and if they're not speaking, they will at least mirror your argumentation. At least then they're doing that. They're trying to make your case for you. Even if, in fact, they are completely insincere and inauthentic in doing so. At least they're doing that. They're not at least speaking against you. That's the best we're going to have to get from these people, from it seems, because they're as fanatical as the leftists. They just believe that internationalism and capitalism is going to fucking solve every issue, when so clearly it is not. So clearly it is not. The market is not the fucking moral guidance of the world. It isn't.
Again, you're spewing bullshit. You don't even know what the fuck a market is. We don't even live in a proper one. If we lived in an open, freed up market with no central banks, none of that crazy cockamamie socialistic bullshit, and that's what the fuck it is, state socialistic bullshit. And I'm probably gonna piss a few fucking neutralists off, but your so-called intellectual founder, Prudhomme, was a fucking glower. Why? The moment someone tries to use a system to make their own parallel to it, which is going to be inherently statistic and aggressive to maintain its existence, like a central fucking bank, you are no better than the enemy you claim to hate on. Your founder was a fucking fucking piece of shit. Just for that alone. That demerits anything that ever come out of his shit from him at that point.
There is a market for completely immoral and awful things. Evil.
I just fucking went into fucking dozens of minutes going into how to fucking you could deal with that if you were in that scenario. I just dealt with red market. I just gave you ways of how you would deal with red markets. Not advocating diddle dick, just describing and giving possible suggestions should you ever work in such an area. In that scenario, things you could do if you chose to. With no advocacy of any fucking kind, because I am not glowing on myself like that, because I am not wanting to get my goddamn ass in trouble.
Practices. Inarguably and unequivocally, indefensibly evil practices. There is a market for those things.
They're called red markets. You could fucking shoot them motherfuckers and you catch them in the act. Child porn is a red market. It is if anything, it's an evil anti-market. Or should I say, the most unethical of markets. You catch the fuckers raping a kid, you can shoot them and shoot the fuckers. Just explain what you could do if you chose to. And you're in that scenario. You could turn it over to the locals. If they won't do anything about it, then you could probably go there. But good luck with that, because you're going to be labeled a vigilante in most places, and you'll be labeled a criminal, and you will get you're going to martyring is going to eventually happen in this regard. So that's the price you're going to pay to make this start happening more. Again, I just went through this shit to such an extensive counter rant, and it's on my God. This shit. This is just, it's a lot of this is just me. It's just simplistic logic and goddamn common sense. Or uncommon sense, what it should be, because it ain't common anymore.
So long as that is the undeniable fact of the matter, of the world, of reality, you cannot say that the market is a moral fucking foundation for anything.
If the moral is built, if the moral framework is you leave each other alone, don't aggress upon anyone. And don't use the threat of aggressive force or whatever to do shit they can't consent to. Consent is supreme. Invitation is supreme and shit like that. That's the moral framework. An open free market is just a series of consequences of expressing that. Again, Miss Mary J. Ruwart's book, Healing the World, goes into this quite fucking well.
Anything. It is not. Capitalism is good. Capitalism is far more moral, and is moral by itself, but is more
lying and straw mans. Straw manning and lying. Good job, fucknut.
More than socialism. It is a monetary system. It is not a worldview. It is a
It's not a monetary system either, motherfucker. You're retarded. You're literally fucking retarded on this.
philosophical foundation of fucking nothing. So I will leave it there. Thank you for listening.
Thank God, you fucknut. Let me see where my comment was. I made a comment a couple years ago. I'm trying to scroll down through all these comments in the comment section. Your diagnosis is wrong. You're right about the effect of those arguments. I absolutely agree with you both. Make both Christian conservatives look bad. Someone who shares likely those beliefs. Let me explain the problem. The issues are arguing for two positions at once. This is Occam's stubble. In fact, there are more than two. They're arguing for actually just presenting rather than arguing their entire worldview, with each part simultaneously. In epistemological terms, they're essentially coherentists. I doubt they recognize that they're presenting their position in a definition of knowledge based on how well the different empirical details work together rather than the more traditional foundationalism where I start with axiom A and by my way of deductively to Z. They end up making a mess because they're arguing inductively based on the number of similar examples. This Occam's stubble right here. Beautiful. Frank Harwald is a retard. It is not the capitalism's job to explain morals. The classical liberal 1776 view accrue morals is the Stoic. But the reason we're able to have the Stoic morals is because of private property. Without it, we cannot have Stoic values. Values will just be what leaders, priests say. So why Catholicism is in so much trouble. It has so much many problems right now because they are all under the Pope. They do not have a private churches. All churches are communal. So tired of blaming capitalism. Capitalism just means private property because socialists claim to be enemies of capitalism and their end goal is to abolish private property. The internationalists are not capitalists. They do not respect private property. Thank you, Harold Bredsdorf. I hope I said that correctly. Bay Array is a tumor. Yeah, I'd have to go into the regular browser to find this motherfucker. Jesus H. Christ. But apparently, I made a comment here, a couple of comments some time back. I'm trying to find them. But anyway, the point is, when I find them, I'll link them. And you could read my comments for yourself. I'll link all these decent comments. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I can't seem to find them for some fucking reason, but yeah. There's a lot of motherfuckers who called this out, a lot of the shit in here out, right? It's just weird. I was watching old videos. Okay, Louis Le Boomer Laval. The artistic spectrum. I love that. Oh my god. Oh, that's so cringe. Oh my god. If you're not a lowly crusader, you're cancer. Yo ass is cancer. That aged like fucking dick cheese. Oh, Jesus, that was bad. That was pretty bad. That was pretty cringe. Anyways, enough of my rants. Anyway, that should be it. I'm done. See you around. I just re-edited this comments today, so yeah. you can see for yourself. This was made over a year. The original was made over a year ago, but I decided to reword it and edit a few things so I can properly state what I said. So these are the comment, and you're not going to see this out in the public unless you have an account and you signed in to it to see it, because YouTube's been fucking with me for a little while. This still gets my original comments, my original thoughts out, but I got it a little bit better. Now, I'm still not going to get liked for this because I'm advocating laissez-faire, and he's going to, you know, the straws and non-arguments he peddled, and he has subscribers, following and followers that simp for are going to side with him. But yeah, I agreed with most everything he said and on a lot of the shit, but you've seen the points I called out. The massive bullshitting I called out. And another reason I hated on his putting John Stossel as part of the thumbnail is because that seemed to be a bit of a fucking well poisoning. And what do you know? He proved my suspicions when I first saw this. I'm like, I gotta see this. Well, I gotta see what the fuck this motherfucker's saying. I bet he's probably right in some areas, but he probably gets some shit wrong, and he won't change his thoughts on, because he's still got some economic lefty vibes that are still in him, because he was admitted he was part of the left. He left the left as well, because fuck that. He said in the video. But anyway, there you go. This is it. This is it. Yeah, this is it. And yeah, no shit. Show less. Whoops. Yeah, you see my points. Hopefully, my final. So yeah, there you go. That's it. But yeah, one time I mentioned a guy. I told a guy, I'm like, well, we have some. I mentioned Maoism, and YouTube censored that comment. And the only reason he knew I said it was because it was in his email feed that I said that, so he read it and he replied to me. He's like, Wes, it's like, Derpy, yeah, I saw I only know what you said, and you seem like you're right. YouTube ain't too crazy about you, are they? I'm like, probably not. And that shit's been going on because I know what they're doing. And I'm not the only fucker who knows precisely what they're doing. Let me tell you something. The more factual and the more red-pilled you do get, unironically, the more opinionated, the more excessively talkative, the more know-it-all you're going to seem to those who are ignorant or uncaring. That is a fucking huge mental and communication, barrier for your asses. And that's a pain in the dick to deal with. I'm just going to fairly warn you. Even friends and blood kin are going to do you this way. Whether they say it to your face in truthfulness or they try to sugarcoat it and butter you up, suck your taint. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being a little graphic because I'm feeling edge cunty today. Because, obvious reasons. But, yeah. This is the comment I just edited today after I found it again. Again, I'm showing it to you on the video because you're not going to see it if you went on there and typed unless you had an account. So, I mean, the dude had a video called George Floyd Killed George Floyd, and MaoTube's been fucking put an age restriction on it, even though he didn't really show or see anything really graphic. It was politically... they didn't like it. So they said, instead of deleting it, they just said, fuck him. He hasn't done anything against our TOS, but we still want to censor, so we're going to put an age restriction. So try to be subtle about it. And that's what they did. So, anyway. So I wanted to show you the actual comment I made, and I edited it today as I upload this clip to it some days after I made the initial video. And today is when as I upload it, you'll see this clip. Thank you for watching the entirety of it all. Those of you who stick around and do.